We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
I'm not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Yep, you just heard that. You just heard that with your own ears. That was the Bucks County Democrat Commissioner, Diane Marseglia, saying openly and overtly she don't have to obey Pennsylvania law. When you elected me as your Democrat commissioner to oversee elections, I don't have to follow the law. You heard her say it. Courts don't matter anymore. People violate laws anytime they want. So I'm going to openly violate this law. And then you had that doofus in the middle there, Democrat board chairman Robert Harvey, I believe his name is. Later on, he agrees with her. He's like, yeah, duh, me too. He was doing his best Beavis and Butthead impersonation, probably. Yeah, laws suck. Laws are for losers. Now, keep in mind, those words that you just heard, people violate laws anytime they want, so I'm going to violate the law. That wasn't coming from some gangsta. That wasn't coming from a street gang leader or a mafia boss. That was coming from the mouth of a Democrat election commissioner who openly stated that her ruling on counting illegal ballots was indeed in direct violation of Pennsylvania law. She openly admitted it. But unfortunately for her, the gavel of justice just came crashing down, and things are not working out in her favor. Details in a mere moment. Greetings, everyone. It is live stream Monday night. I am your host, a very hoarse Dr. Steve, your Patriot professor, here to give you a front row seat in the rise of a new golden age. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, as we always do on Monday nights. We'll be here on YouTube Live for about 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to go off to our censorship-free exclusive live stream. So if you want to join us over there for some sweet fellowship and scholarly discussion, just scan that QR code on the screen. I love it. I love that. Where is it? Yeah, you're right over there. Our QR code on the screen, or click on the link in the description below. For a very small monthly fee, you can have access to our exclusive Q&As, our exclusive content, our exclusive conversations, our exclusive meetups, our exclusive offers. So click that link below or scan that QR code to become a member of our Courageous Conservatives Club, where we are restoring together the pillars of faith, family, and freedom as we usher in a new conservative golden age. All right. Let me bring everyone up to speed here. Many of you know that the longtime Democrat, Senator Bob Casey, who desperately tried to pass himself off as a MAGA Democrat. I know, I'm in the Pennsylvania area. I saw his commercials every single night. It was absolutely annoying. He tried to pass himself off as a Democrat that was all for Trump. He wanted to secure the border. He wanted to bring manufacturing and industrial jobs back home, even though he votes with Biden and Schumer 99.9% of the time. Well, Bob Casey lost. He lost on November 5th. He lost bigly to the Republican challenger, Dave McCormick. The race was called by the AP. It was called by Decision Desk. But Casey decided to go full election denial mode. Yes, a Democrat election denier. He refused to concede the election, and instead he brought in that Democrat pitbull, Mark Elias, to help him order a recount. And not just a recount, but a recount that included ballots that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court had previously ruled illegal. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled several weeks back that mail-in ballots that were missing mandatory signatures, or that were misstated or undated and the like, were not to be counted. They were invalidated by Pennsylvania law. What you just saw there, with what you just heard with your own ears in that video, was that Bucks County Democrat Commissioner Diane Marseglia openly saying she didn't care what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court had previously ruled. She didn't care. She actually went further than that. She said, court rulings don't matter anymore. People violate the law anytime they want nowadays. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to violate the law. Now, so she ordered a recount, but including these ballots. So for me, what's so bizarre here is how blatantly she didn't. What's so bizarre is that she did not tease out her own logic when she said that. I mean, think about it. If laws don't matter anymore, what does she need to be there for? Why do we need her? If laws are now freely ignored, then why would anyone obey the Bucks County Election Board? Why do you persist to recount when the rest of us, including Dave McCormick, can just dismiss and ignore your recount? If we can disobey the law whenever we want, why would we care whatever law you try to impose on us? It was the single most absurd, self-defeating claim I think I've ever heard a bureaucrat make, and that's saying something. In openly defying the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, she invited anyone and everyone else to defy her. It's beyond bizarre. Let's just say the voters of Bucks County, and I lived in Bucks County for 2 years, beautiful area. But let's just say that those voters did not elect the brightest bulb in the box when they elected her. Nevertheless, for the last few days, this is exactly what the Bucks County Election Commission has been doing. I know we've all been pulling our hair out. It was just a blatant recounting of ballots, a blatantly illegal recounting of ballots. It updated the totals every single day, with Casey getting closer and closer and closer to McCormick because all these illegal ballots were being included now. It was insane. Well, fortunately, Mike Whatley of the RNC, they filed suit, and they went straight to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And the good news is that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has just released its ruling about an hour or so ago. They have explicitly ordered the counting to stop and the removal of any and all illegal ballots from the process. There is now, with this ruling, no possible viable path for Casey to overturn the election results. And so Dave McCormick is the winner, just as he was confirmed by the AP and by the decision desk. So the Republicans, it looks like it's official now, they will have 53 seats in the Senate starting January. Now, what's so unbelievably ironic here? I'll just sum it up here, and then we'll bring in, we have a special guest tonight that you're going to love. What's so ironic here is that the Democrats actually thought running on saving democracy was a winning issue for them when they so adamantly and obviously and explicitly oppose democracy. We actually had a number of polls before the election that showed that the public trusted President Trump far more than Kamala Harris in combating any perceived threats to democracy. And yet the geniuses in the Democratic Party thought that saving democracy was somehow going to be a winning issue for them. But voters are nowhere as stupid as Democrat leadership is. They saw that it was the Democrats who tried to strip Trump from state ballots like Colorado. An attempt that, by the way, was unanimously rejected by the U.S. Supreme Court in a 9-0 decision. You don't see too many of those, do you? Voters saw out-of-control Democrat prosecutors trying to lock Trump up in jail for the rest of his life for crimes they're still trying to figure out the coherence of. They saw a Democrat Department of Justice raid Trump's home. They saw the Democrats constantly trying to shut down free speech. The only people that seemed hell-bent on interrupting the Democrat process, ironically, are Democrats. And in the end, the collapsing charade only ended up revealing the Democrats for who they really are. We've talked about this before on the channel, an off-sided observation of political campaigns that end up falling apart, that end up running out of steam, is that they end up just becoming the core of what they really are for everyone to see. In other words, all the artificial dressing, all the joy disappears, and you just see the campaign for what it actually is. And what we saw with the Democrats, especially here in Bucks County and Philadelphia and the like, is an unhinged, psychopathic group of people who will flagrantly and explicitly violate the law just to get you. They will openly violate the law for petty partisan purposes, and they will admit it. And so it really does appear as if one of the great lessons of 2024 is that the Democrats, in many respects, ended up defeating themselves. The voters saw a party that was willing to overtly destroy democracy in order to purportedly save it. And voters overwhelmingly rejected that party and will continue to do so as long as they double down on stupid. You know, it's not just laws that people break whenever they want. It's political parties as well. All right, gang. All right. I'm really excited. We have a special guest with us tonight. As many of you know, ever since Trump's massive landslide win, we've been talking daily on this channel about the coming MAGA economy, the golden age, as Trump and Elon Musk are calling it. And that, in many ways, is already here. I mean, look around you. The markets are up. Bitcoin is going crazy. It looks like it's about to hit 100,000. And now people in general, they're just seemingly more optimistic. They're more entrepreneurial and more positive, not just about the next couple of years. Dare I say, I think they're willing to be positive about the next 8 to 16 years. So tonight, gang, for this Q&A, I wanted to invite one of my very good friends, entrepreneur Mark Wilburn, to join us to answer any and all questions pertaining to the markets, the economy, all the amazing financial opportunities that are available to us in the coming golden age of the MAGA years. So, Mark, welcome, my friend. Great to welcome you back to the channel.
Steve, it's awesome to be with you. I was sitting here backstage laughing at your Beavis and Butthead, and that's the first time I've actually seen that clip, man. That was shocking, yet not, because one of the things I've learned about the Democrat Party is they will tell you what they're doing by accusing their enemies of doing it.
Projection, yep.
Right. And so they actually, that's the perfect word for it. They will project what they're actually doing, what their plan is, by accusing the Republicans or the independents or their adversaries of doing the same thing. So it's, you know, we're here to save democracy and he's going to ruin it, when it's really
we're the ones who are trying
the opposite. And what better proof than what you just showed on video, right? That was incredible. But I did appreciate the Beavis and Butthead reference. I grew up on MTV, baby. And that's a great show.
Yeah, right. It's been a long time, but I remember him. I was just talking to my 90-year-old aunt, my wonderful 90-year-old aunt, just celebrated her 90th birthday. And lo and behold, what are we talking about? We're talking about South Park. She has the most witty sense of humor imaginable, and she will check out and appreciate South Park. That's kid funny. You not. Now she has to. Sometimes it gets too raunchy, so she'll have to turn it off. And I'm like, I'm with you. But that's, I mean, yeah. So Beavis and Butthead, South Park. We do pop culture here, man.
I like it, man. I like it.
Mark, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you? So you've got an amazing resume with Neos and all that. Can you give everybody a little just a little précis of who you are.
Yeah. So I started stock trading. I'm a entrepreneur by trade. When I graduated, I actually put myself through college as a trim carpenter. Love woodworking and all that. I started thinking, man, I'm going to probably go into this business. And I was raised by a very entrepreneurial mother in real estate. And I started buying property when I was in college, and got involved in like a network marketing type company. I'm sure a lot of people have been offered those, hey, I used to be the guy at Starbucks who would see you and be like, Steve, you're like a pretty sharp guy. Do you keep your eye open for business opportunities? I was really good at it. I had that jig going. And I got involved in one. I did really well. I started really excelling in the ranks. I was making six figures, and it all kind of came crashing down.
Ooh.
And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had some real estate that I could use the income from to like pay my bills. But as far as like getting ahead, it just wasn't there. And everything I was hoping for in this network marketing company had failed. And I found myself sitting at my dining room table. I'm a Christian. I was raised by a pastor. I was a PK for a while, like the quintessential, like walk away from the Lord, come back to him.
Ooh, okay. Prodigal.
Yeah. So there's a lot of testimony and history there we won't dive into, but I found myself sitting at the dining room table, and I was like, Lord, I know that you're good, and I know that you love me, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. And God, through a series of events, started bringing me out of this hole, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I called this business partner that I had, who was a cross line in my MLM. And he said, hey, man, I told him my situation. He said, well, if you can fly from Tampa, Florida, I was living down in Sarasota at the time, to Tyler, Texas this weekend, I got something to show you. And I'm like, this weekend? He's like, yeah. Unbeknownst to him, I had been dating a girl long distance who lived in Tyler, Texas. 3 months prior, I'd actually bought a plane ticket to go propose to her.
Ooh.
But 2 months before that, she ended it. Completely ended it. But I still had the plane ticket, and it was for that very weekend.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
wow.
I kind of felt like that was when God sets you up like that, I call him Jehovah Sneaky.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I jumped on a plane. I saw a stock trading event, started trading. I took $10,000, turned it into $50,000, started living on it.
Wow.
The company I was with hired me to be one of their trainers. Soon I started making advanced education for this particular company and doing really well. And my wife, by the way, I did end up marrying the same girl. So I got the money and the girl.
Yeah.
Like, God's really good in that respect. I got the money and the girl. And through a series of events, she's like, honey, you're making all this education and curriculum, but you're making someone else rich.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to leave Laban. And so we struck out on our own, and we wanted to help people because I had a big difference of opinion with
Did you just say it's time to leave Laban?
100%. I said it's time to leave Laban.
He said, are you guys getting those biblical jewels? He said, that's glorious. All right, go on, Jacob. Go on.
Yeah. So we started our own company.
Spotted calves with you either there.
I did not bring any spotted calves. We had a non-compete. But we left on mutually beneficial terms. We just had a difference of opinion. Like I really wanted to help people, and he really wanted to monetize people.
Okay, yeah.
And that's my heart was like, hey, let's get people really successful, and they'll start telling their friends and family and colleagues, and leads will come easy. And so that's kind of how my wife and I cut our teeth in trading. We've been doing that for 6 years. And I think we've created 2 millionaires at this point. Wow. In the last 6 years. We've had numerous six-figure clients who grew accounts into six figures. And it's been a really cool journey to see God's hand in it, to be honest.
And it's nothing compared to what's ahead. I mean, wow. Yeah. I mean, gang, we've actually got a special gift for you guys tonight. Anyone who wants to join us over on our live stream on our own private platform, which we're going to go to in a few minutes. If you want to come to our exclusive Q&A live stream tonight, you're going to get a free copy of Mark's book, The Matthew Effect, completely free. So scan the QR code or click the link in the description. And once you join us off of YouTube, we'll give you the link to get the book for absolutely free. Mark, do you want to give everybody a little bit of a summary of your book?
Sure. So it's understanding the Matthew effect. And what the Matthew effect is, it was a ideal that two sociologists actually came up with. And they came from the scripture out of Matthew, where Jesus says, to him who has, more will be given. And to him who doesn't have, what he thinks he has will be taken away.
Taken away. Yeah. Yeah.
Our colloquialism for that is the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Right.
And so many times, Dr. Steve, we utter that with bitterness or resentment, like, oh, those rich people, they just keep getting richer. When in fact, this is one of the only statements that Jesus says 5 times in the 3 parabolic gospels. Wow. It is literally a spiritual law that God himself put into the earth. And in this book, we give you 6 different keys on how to tap into that for yourself. And we've seen it change lives. I've seen guys, one of my favorite testimonies, a guy, we have a challenge that goes with it. He read the book, joined the challenge, and within a year, his wife they started actually doing the principles. His wife got a 2x raise. Wow. He was able to pay his house off, got his dream truck, and what was the other thing he did? I want to say he started his own company and did 6 figures his first year, something like that.
Wow.
But just completely turned around. And it's basic principles that God gives us. Because I know you're a believer, but I believe God is so good and loves us that he wouldn't put a principle in the world that we couldn't tap into.
Right.
But sometimes, like Proverbs says, it's the glory of God to conceal a matter and the glory of a king to search it out. We have to search it out. We've got to find what those principles are. And that's what this book is about.
Right. Hence the parables as well. Yeah. That's the parabolic knowledge. Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, that's awesome. Micah, do we have some questions for Mark?
Yeah, we're going to do a couple questions with Mark, guys. But if you want to come to our uncensored live stream, and if you want to talk about, the ballot harvesting or the economy or any questions that you have, like there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about with Mark and with Dr. Steve here on an uncensored live stream that you'd be hard pressed to miss with all this stuff going on right after the election, especially in Bucks County. So if you have any of those questions, or of course, we have our special offer tonight. If you want to join our live stream and our uncensored Q&A, you will get Matthew's new book, an ebook form, for free. And we will be sharing that QR code and that link with you all once we go to our uncensored platform. So please don't wait. Scan the QR code or click the link below, and you can join Dr. Steve and Mark in an uncensored Q&A live stream, which will be happening very shortly after we transition. But we'll hit a few questions here first. We have a great question from one of our app users. It said, given Trump's preparedness this time around, will this be a better economy than 2016? I know a lot of people are curious about how Trump can turn this around from the absolute disaster that we've seen from 2020.
That's an awesome question. From what we're seeing, yes, it will be. But how many of you know adulting can be hard? Right? And what I mean by that is sometimes as an adult, you have to make a hard decision in a moment to have a better future in the preceding years, right? So I have to kind of cut spending, for example, to save money, to invest money so that I can have that better future. And I see that's what's going to be happening in this economy. Trump's coming in with Elon and Vivek and Doge and a lot of his appointees to really, we use the words drain the swamp kind of in our sphere. But as that swamp drains, there's a lot of monsters that you got to get rid of, right? And some of those are rhinos in disguise. Once we start eliminating our federal debt and spending and actually being very responsible with our federal budget, we will see a big boost. And you can see it happening right now in Argentina with Javier Milei coming in. Argentina's economy and stock market are doing very, very well right now. Investors are doubling down in Argentina because he's brought inflation from literally high teens and 20s down to 2, like low single digits, because he's just eliminating waste. And so when we begin to do that ourselves, it will buoy and boost the economic engine and production that we've got in America.
So brilliantly said. You're going to laugh, but I was having a chat with another person, a very big name in the world of YouTube, and he brought up Javier Milei as well, and exact same observations that it's stunning how quickly he's been able to turn around Argentina, as well as Nayib Bukele of El Salvador, what he's been able to do again just in a few years. They were experiencing massive social disorder they were run by gangs. They were basically Mogadishu in El Salvador, and he's been able to turn that around, bring in Bitcoin, and these are smaller countries. What are they called? I think they're being called quantum states or quantum politics. They're very flexible and they can move they're not they're these big, massive civilizational states like China or Russia. They can move very quick. They can change their economies very fast. I like to think that the United States has the characteristics of both. We've got this big, massive kind of civilizationalist state, but our reforms and our entrepreneurial spirit enable us to move very, very fast. We saw it with Reagan. I think we saw it in 2017 in 45. I think we're already seeing it with 47. I mean, just look at Bitcoin, for heaven's sakes. It's up 30%. I mean, it's crazy.
It's an insane run. And like you said, it doesn't take long. You just have to make the right policies. When you empower the American spirit, like there's something built into Americans that we're entrepreneurial. We are these Wild West settlers who just, if you look at our ancestors who would just Oregon Trail type stuff, like, all right, we're going to go, even if we get dysentery, let's rock.
Pioneers. Yeah.
And we have that same DNA inside of us, so that when those reins are loose, when those chains get cut, when the tax reforms come in, it opens people's minds and people's creativity. And I think as people get better, it's hard to be creative when you're stuck in a rut and you're worried about paying your bills.
Yeah.
When you have runaway inflation and you're like, okay, can my kids eat this week?
Yep.
It drains your creativity. And so as that inflation comes down, as this government spending comes down and that burden is taken off, it will open more creativity. And I think we're going to see a huge surge, huge surge.
I was just listening to Jordan Peterson podcast, and he was asked about what he most admired about America, Peterson being Canadian. And he said, there's just the entrepreneurial spirit is unlike anywhere else in the world. I come here and I feel like I can do something. I can actually realize my dreams, my highest potential. It's what's known as the American dream. So I think you're bullseye on that.
And it also shows why so many people are trying to get here.
Yeah.
Right. The legal and the illegal.
Right.
And, as much as I hate to say it, if I were stuck illegally and I was like, hey, I could probably get across here and there's nothing going to happen to me over these years.
Yeah.
I would go for it. Right. If I could have a better life for my family. But when you look at statistics, it's, like the Department of Education, Trump's kind of toying with the idea of completely axing, which I think
he's going to melee it. He's going to melee it, man. Gone.
So I hope he does. But that being said, we're 24th in education globally. Like if you look at our statistics, where we're at,
abysmal.
They're very low. And so why would people want to come here except that there's something in the spiritual atmosphere of America that when you get here, your dreams can come true.
Right.
And when you believe that and you act on that, the magic of faith kicks in, and I believe it opens up the door for you to have it.
Yeah.
So long answer for a short question, but I think it's going to be a lot better economy.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. We have a special question too, and this is going to come right before we transition over, guys. So please click the link below and join us on our uncensored Q&A, where we trust me, like we're talking about the economy right now. We will get back to Bucks County and talk all about that. We just can't talk about it right here because our channel will literally be deleted and you won't, they'll all neuralize you and you won't remember that this channel ever existed. So we're going to answer this question.
home
from
and rethink
Rockport.
your life.
Yes, yeah. The men in black are going to knock down the doors of all three of us. You'll see us all get black bags over our head. Rot Corp asks, Dr. Turley, please ask Mark about Ripple XRP. This could be a great opportunity. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on Ripple?
I actually like Ripple. Trump has talked about American crypto created crypto coins, Ripple being one of those, and either doing away with all tax on those or having a very, very low tax on those, which is a big incentive to buy it. I don't think anything will ever replace Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I know Ripple is in its own special niche, right? It's been around for a long time. It already has almost, I think, 40 or 80% returns. It was around 40. It's up about 90-ish right now, 80 to 90 last time I looked. And so it's already had a big move. My ideas with these, though, and crypto, if I can kind of just throw some caution to the wind, have what I call price targets, which is an area that, man, if I make 50, 60, 80, 100% on this, I'm looking to pull some gains off the table and put my capital back into my pocket, right? Like take that profit, put it in your pocket, and then let the profit that you're making in the markets continue to work for you. Then you can take your investment and put it in other things. But I love Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. Those are my top 3 favorites because I think that those are the most tenured in that space. I do like Ripple, though. I think it's a hot name right now. All of the altcoins like that are really hot names, but you have to be careful, right? If Ripple, I know they got through the bank lawsuit that they had, and I do think there's a lot of more upside movement. I think they could go retest their all-time highs, which, if I'm not mistaken, is around $3. I think that was back in like 2018-ish, if memory serves. So I do think that is a big possibility for it. But if you are in it currently and you've been riding this wave, when you do double your money, just do yourself a favor and start taking a little bit of profit off the table. It minimizes your risk exposure and it kind of puts you in a no-lose situation so that your gains continue to compound, but your capital that you use to invest in it is safe.
Mark, what can I ask? What, when you say little, what for you, what would you be comfortable with?
When I say little, like take a little bit of profit off the table.
Yeah.
I have different. So when I trade,
are we talking 20%, 50%? What are we?
Great question. So when I trade, I have different profit targets. If I'm in something like earlier this year, we were in Bitcoin. Let me give you, this is a real example. Okay. So we got into Bitcoin around April. And when it made that huge move and retested all-time highs, it was about 40-ish and it went all the way back up, retested 78. At that all-time high, I took half my position off the table because I'd almost doubled my position. Right. And so when you start understanding the math of it,
right,
if I can double my position and I sell half, all of my capital is back in my pocket.
Right.
safe.
Back in your pocket. Yep. That's brilliant.
So if we go to zero, I don't lose anything.
Right.
Now, usually that was a different case because I was expecting that retest of all-time highs. But usually what I like to do is take about whatever my risk is. So if I get into, let's say I got into Ripple right now and I don't know the exact price. I don't have a chart up in front of me, but let's pretend it's at 90 cents just for hypotheticals. Okay.
Sure.
Let's pretend that at 80 cents, I would want to get out. So I have a 10 cent.
All right.
I have this 10-cent loss that I'm willing to risk.
Right.
When I make that loss, typically I take about 10% or 20% off the table.
Okay.
Because just doing that drastically puts odds in your favor over time. Because to me, this is a long-term type game. Over time of having a very high win risk to reward ratio. Right. So it makes it a lot easier to make money in the long run.
Right.
So I like having about 10 to 20% just kind of as a first grab. And then when I hit my bigger upside targets on that, then pulling it off the table.
Interesting. Great. It's very helpful. Very helpful.
Awesome. Well, with that, guys, we're going to start our transition over to our private, uncensored live stream, where you will be able to ask any questions you like to both Mark, our special guest, and Dr. Steve. So scan that QR code, click the link below, and you will also, if you join the live stream at all tonight, you will have the chance to download. Anyone in the live stream will have the chance to download Mark's free ebook, which, you know, you've seen his knowledge on these economic subjects, and you will be able to get this this book and have it for yourself for completely free for all guests that sign up today for our Insiders Club, our Courageous Conservative Club, and join our Monday night uncensored Q&A. So we're about to transition, and we will see you guys over there very shortly.